Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just dive right in. Let me guess, you make just enough money to survive, but not quite enough to actually breathe, right? Your bank account feels like it's constantly playing hide and seek, and every single payday just disappears faster than a free sample at Costco. Well, today, we are breaking down a blueprint pulled from leading financial sources on how to build serious wealth without needing a massive salary. It's a concept known as stealth wealth.
Now, you might be thinking, don't I need a huge six-figure salary to even start? This right here challenges the absolute biggest myth in personal finance. Most of us think wealth is entirely about how much you earn, but honestly, that is so far from the truth. Wealth is really about how much you keep, how smart you grow it, and how quietly you move. If you've ever told yourself, I'll start saving when I finally make more money, you are falling into a massive trap. Honestly, that's like saying you'll start exercising once you're already fit.
Get this. The reality of the truly wealthy is probably going to shock you. Data from a long-term study on self-made millionaires shows they are absolutely not all out there driving Ferraris and wearing Gucci. 64% of them live in modest, middle-class homes. Almost half buy used cars. They use coupons. 8% of them even shop at Goodwill. Real wealth is often quiet, it's frugal, and honestly, it's invisible. Those habits of the wealthy? They're forged in the days before they actually become rich, and those frugal habits stick around.
Section 1. Pay yourself first. The mindset shift.
Think about it like this for a second. If you owed your landlord rent and you just didn't pay, you'd get evicted, right? So why is it that when it comes to owing yourself money, you just kind of let it slide? You literally have to treat your future self like the most ruthless bill collector on earth. Before rent, before groceries, definitely before your Netflix subscription, you have to pay yourself first. Why? Because absolutely no one else is coming to build your wealth for you. Doing this rewires your brain to see building wealth as a non-negotiable necessity, not just some maybe someday luxury.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. It all comes down to poor math versus rich math. Poor math is totally flawed. It says you take your income, you pay all your expenses, and whatever happens to be left over, if anything at all, becomes your savings. Rich math flips that entirely on its head. You take your income, you immediately pull out your savings, and then you force yourself to live on whatever is left. It is a complete game changer. To actually make rich math happen, our sources point to the highly effective 50-30-20 budgeting rule. It goes like this. You allocate 50% of your income to absolute necessities, housing, utilities, that kind of stuff. 30% goes to your discretionary spending, so your wants, and then a strict 20% is aggressively earmarked for wealth building. That means savings, investments, and crushing debt. Remember, budgeting isn't about restricting yourself, it's about being intentional.
So how do we actually put this into practice? It's 3 simple steps. Step 1, calculate your actual take-home pay. Step 2, lock in that savings percentage. And step 3, this is the magic part, set up an automated transfer to a digital vault. This needs to be a totally separate bank account with 0 debit card access and no app on your phone. Make it completely untouchable. Out of sight means out of mind, and that means your money is actually going to be there 12 months from now.
Section 2. Escape the debt trap. Listen, even the absolute best savings plan is going to fail if you're bleeding cash. You have to eliminate the biggest wealth killers first, and debt is a heavy, crippling burden. We live in a society where debt traps are just completely normalized. Car leases, buy now, pay later schemes for a random pair of shoes, making minimum payments on high-interest credit cards. These are all socially approved ways to forfeit your financial freedom. You are quite literally paying extra money for the privilege of looking like you aren't broke. To crush that debt, the sources highlight 2 incredibly powerful strategies. First, the debt snowball method. This is where you pay off your smallest balances first. It gives you these quick, psychological wins and a massive boost of motivation. On the flip side, you have the debt avalanche method, which targets your highest interest rate first. Mathematically, this saves you the most money over the long haul. You just have to choose the one that fits your psychology, commit to it, and get that debt out of your life.
Section 3, defeating lifestyle inflation.
All right, once you stop the bleeding from debt, you have to face this incredibly sneaky, invisible enemy that keeps even higher earners living paycheck to paycheck. It's called lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep. You get a raise at work, you go out to celebrate, and suddenly you're upgrading your phone, you're eating out way more often, you're booking pricier vacations. Your expenses start rising at the exact same rate as your new income. So you're earning more, yet somehow you still have 0 extra money. It creates this endless dependency and just eats your future.
Which brings us to this absolutely hard-hitting truth. Rich people look poor,
Poor people try to look rich. It is such a trap. You really do not need a leased Mercedes or a $60 Sunday brunch to prove to the world you are doing okay in life. Trying to flex for absolute strangers on the internet is the exact thing that keeps the middle class so stressed and financially stuck. So how do we actually fight this? Well, here is your defense strategy straight from the sources. First, the literal second you get a raise, automate that extra money straight into your savings before you ever get used to seeing it in your checking account. Second, enforce a 3 to 6 month cool-off period before making any sort of lifestyle upgrade. Third, track every single dollar. Financial awareness is your ultimate superpower. And finally, figure out ways to celebrate your career wins that don't involve spending money.
Section 4. Automate your investments.
Now for the fun part, putting that protected money to work. Fidelity Investments lays out a very specific hierarchy for where your money should go. Number 1, always contribute to your workplace 401k up to the employer match. Seriously, that is literally free money. Number 2, look into a health savings account, or HSA, because it offers this super rare triple tax advantage. Number 3, max out an IRA or a Roth IRA. And number 4, any leftover funds can then flow into a standard brokerage account. Follow that ladder and you maximize your tax benefits.
But what do you actually buy once the money is in those accounts? The experts practically scream this answer: index funds. An index fund basically lets you own a tiny little slice of the entire stock market, like the S&P 500, without having to stress over picking winning or losing individual companies. The stock market historically averages right around a 10% annual return. Listen, even if you only have $5 a week to invest, putting it into an index fund trains you for wealth. Remember, time in the market always beats timing the market.
And check this out, 0%. A lot of people think investing is just too expensive. Not anymore. The Motley Fool points out funds like the Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund. It boasts a literal 0% expense ratio and there's no minimum investment. Honestly, investing today is cheaper and way more accessible than at any other point in human history.
To put that in perspective, just look at how these fees stack up. Actively managed funds charge an average of 0.60% in fees just to pay these managers who frankly often fail to even beat the market anyway. Average index funds drop that down to 0.06%, and those zero funds? They bring it down to absolutely nothing. Passive index funds absolutely crush actively managed funds when it comes to fees, and that means significantly more of your hard-earned money stays right in your account, compounding for your future.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here, but if you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, please let it be this: automate everything, and then forget about it. Human discipline will inevitably fail you. You're going to get tired, you'll get distracted, and for sure you will want to buy things you don't actually need. But by automating your paycheck splits, your savings transfers, and your index fund investments, you completely remove willpower from the equation. That right there is the ultimate secret to invisible wealth.
Which leaves us with this final powerful thought. Wealth is built day by day, not paycheck by paycheck. Build the system, let it run, and disappear. You see, you really don't need a massive salary. You just need a massive strategy. The quiet journey to true financial freedom is right there waiting for you. So the only question left is, what exactly are you going to